Hello everyone and welcome to the Internet Computing class / Internet Programming class and in the summer, and I hope that you are enjoying your summer so far, and hopefully this class will help you enjoy a little bit more this summer. It's going to be a fun class, and we're going to learn about how we can program applications for the web that you could have hosted on a web server, and then clients systems would be able to communicate with your application. This is the syllabus of the class. The information about this class is the undergraduate section of the class, COSC4341, in the summer of 2013. The class is online, 10 weeks. Usually what you will see every week, a module will be released with the contents of that week's lecture, and the content of the course are essentially compressed into 10 weeks. In a fall or spring semester, it's going to be a 15-week class. However, it's not that, I think, difficult, because, after all, 15 weeks, 10 weeks are pretty much kind of sort of the same. It's only 2/3 of an actual semester. However, we may not cover, depending on how the speed and the pace of the course is going, dynamic data processing, which we usually do in a 15-week class. The information about our office hours is going to be Mondays and Tuesdays from 5 to 6 p.m. It's going to be online, and the link to that online office hour will be posted on the Blackboard, so you can have access to it. If you have any questions about the course, you can, of course, either email me through my email in the Blackboard or my regular UHB email address, and then also you can call my office at 361-570-4204. The information that I'm showing in this syllabus is going to be probably changed. This is just a layout of what we have in mind prior to the semester starting. But again, as I said, the class is going to be dynamic, and however the class goes, you might cover some aspects and areas more and some aspects and areas less. The course description from your course catalog talks about this course being an introduction of the study of web programming concepts, algorithms, and applications. We will see client and server-side programming. We will use HTML at the beginning of the class, but then we would focus most of our programming in the ASB with the C# programming. If you're familiar with Visual Basic, the textbook also shows you the Visual Basics aspects of it, and essentially that's what we mainly focus. And towards the end of the class, we'll learn about programming for databases over the web. The prerequisites, as mentioned in your course catalog, is COSC or ISC 3317 and 3315, an understanding of basic programming. Knowledge of object-oriented is preferred. However, if you are inclined and you're a fast learner, they are not really necessary component for you to be able to have the best out of this class. The ideas that I have for your learning objectives by the end of this class is to understand the Internet and the World Wide Web, what they are, and how they have been developed, understanding of how you can develop applications for the web. Then we will learn about active server pages, .NET framework, and then we will have hands-on experience on web development. The materials that we have for this course, as far as the textbook is concerned, the required textbook is Beginning ASP.NET 4 in C# and Visual Basic. It's published by Wiley and Spanjaron as the author of the book. It's a book that's published in 2010. I would have chosen the new version, which is Active Server Pages 4.5. But then again, I figured some students may not have access to the latest .NET framework, and the differences were minuscule between the two versions. So we'll be focusing on ASP.NET 4. For the purpose of this video, that you see, I'm using Visual Studio Express 2010. And as long as you have Visual Studios of any kind, Express or Professional from 2010, 2011, 2012, you should be fine writing the programs. The user interface may be different in terms of how the colors are or where the arrangements of the panels are. We will not focus on the panels and the user interfaces of the Visual Studio. So the concepts are generic, and all of the different versions of Visual Studios from 2010 will give you all the functionalities that you need to be able to work with the programs in this class. So that shouldn't be a concern. That being said, since you're a UHV student, you can you can go to DreamSpark's website and look for University of Houston Victoria Information Technology servers and register with your UHV email address. And once you register there, you will be able to download all of the applications that are on that are on DreamSparks for free. You can download them from the DreamSparks website. If you have any questions about that, please email me or let me know, and then I'll get you in touch with the IT to help you with downloading and installing the programs. For the programs, of course, here we are, the operating system is Windows 7. You can have XP, Vista, or 8. That would be no problem. However, if you want to do Linux, you want to make sure that in your Linux box you have a virtual environment set up with Windows, because we will be using the .NET framework, and so it's a Windows framework. We will, as I said, I'm showing you all of these information in Visual Studio, Microsoft Visual Web Developer 2010 Express Edition. It's a component of Visual Studio, so if you have the full suite of Visual Studio, you should be able to do this. Otherwise, you can just go on the Microsoft website and download just the Visual Web Developer. If we get into the database programming and the dynamic data processing for our web applications, you might want to install Microsoft SQL Server 2008 Express Edition. It's fairly straightforward to acquire, again, from the Microsoft website. It's free, and that allows you for hosting a database on your local computer and work with it. Microsoft.NET Framework, of course, is a given, or ASP.NET is essentially a .NET framework, and so when you install your Visual Studio, Microsoft.NET will be a part of installation process. And for HTML processing, at the very beginning of the semester, including this week, if we get to it or next, you will be required to use a text editor to type in your HTML code. And that's, you might think, well, it's a waste of time because you have Visual Studio and you can write your programs in Visual Web Developer, even the HTML files. And that is certainly true. However, Microsoft Visual Studio and Visual Web Developer are Microsoft tools. So they're basically IDEs, integrated development environments, but you can literally write all of your projects just in a basic text editor and still to be able to work on them and install them on a web server. So that's the idea. If you end up at a company or somewhere that you don't have access to Visual Web Developer, you should be able to still work on your projects. What we're going to have as far as the assessment of this class, we're going to have projects, midterms, a final project, and homework assignments. The tentative way of looking at them is going to be 4 homework assignments, 2 projects, 1 midterm, and 1 final project. We're not going to have a final exam. Instead, we're going to have a final project. And the grade percentages of each is as shown in this table. On top here, you're going to have 20% of your grade are made from your homework assignment grades. 20% of them are the projects, 25% is going to be your midterm exam, and 30% of it is the final exam. 15% is going to be your participation in the class. There's going to be discussion pages, journal entries, and general purpose being in the class. And as this is an online class, you can access this class anytime you wish. Leave a comment, read a discussion, respond to a discussion, and this way the class is going to be active, and this will have a weight. Your participation in the class will have a weight in terms of your final grade as well. And the grades are going to be calculated out of 100 with the possibility of 10% extra credit. If you sum up all those percentages, it's going to sum up to 110%. For the undergraduate section of this class, we're going to have the numeric scale of your letter grade according to the second table on the page here. If you earn 88 plus, you're going to earn an A in your total grade points. 75 to 88 is going to earn you a B. 62 to 74 is a C. 50 to 61 is a D, and less than 50 is a failing grade. In terms of your assignments, projects, and even mini classworks, there's going to be a deadline, a due date for them. And I generally accept late work, but the late work is going to be penalized, which means that if you're not late, you're going to get your full grade. If you are 1 day late, whatever grade you make, I'm going to multiply that by 94%, or 0.94. If you're 2 days late, you're going to get only 3/4 of the grade that you make. If you're 3 days late, you're going to get a little less than half of the grade you make. Basically, your grade is going to be penalized, and half of the grade will be taken away. And more than 4 days, basically about a week late, is going to be, I'm not going to grade them. And the day, these days are calculated upon the deadline. So what that means is that if tonight at 11:59 p.m. the assignment is due, if you submit it before 11:59, it's not considered late. If you submit it right after 11:59, it's going to be automatically 1 day late. So if you submit it a minute after that day, then that's going to be 2 days late, and so on and so forth. However, if you need special assistance, if there's a medical emergency or a family emergency or something that's really out of your control and it happens, please let me know as soon as possible, and then I will give you a new deadline for your assignment. And then this late work will be considered with your new deadline for your assignment, and we'll work on that. The schedule of the class, as I said, is a 10-week class. So we're going to start with Introduction to Computer Networks and the World Wide Web. This week, your introduction homework is going to be released, so you will basically get to work on your first homework assignment. Next week, we're going to start about HTML topics. We'll learn about how your program for the generic HTML hypertext markup language on the web, and then your first project is going to be released then. The third week of the class through the fifth, we're going to work with ASP.NET framework. We'll first learn about Visual Web Developer and its workings and integration of ASP.NET framework into it. Then we'll learn about server controls, and then we start working in programming. And then you're going to have a couple of homework assignments and a project during the working on the active server pages.NET framework, or rather the introductory ASP.NET programming. Then we're going to have the midterm, and then after the midterm, on the seventh week, in the seventh week of the class, we're going to learn about master pages and uniform navigation within your website and the programming of it that is concerned to make your projects completely uniform looking. And then we'll learn about validating user inputs and the difference between client-side processing and server-side processing. And then we're going to start working on database web programming. And then your final project is going to be released the second to last week of the class, and then you're going to have an entire week to develop your project. Now, if you download this syllabus, I'm not going to go over the general policies of this class. These general policies are the ones that are dictated by the university, and so it talks about your attendance and participation, academic integrity, plagiarism, ADA accommodations for students with the need for disability services, and also basic student services and student conduct information. So this is about it. About your syllabus, there's going to be a little quiz in a class that asks you to read the syllabus and understand it, and then make sure that the syllabus is clear to you. And then, well, right after this, we're going to start our first week of the class. Again, thank you very much for listening and your patience, and I hope that you like the rest of the contents within this Internet Programming and Internet Computing class.